Alright, Matt here from Sleeve Notes, and it's time for a review of the new EP by up and coming British indie rock, punk, noise rock outfit Cabbage. Terrorist Synthesizer. Cabbage are a up and coming Manchester based band, sort of indie rock, noise rock, punk rock, just general alternative music, and they've kind of started to hit it a bit big this year. I personally wasn't aware of them, but this is I think their fourth EP they've released this year. They're putting out a lot of music, and they're supporting a lot of bands. They're playing a lot of gigs, and they're getting out there. They've done festivals. It's all go for Cabbage at the minute. And this new EP is well, if this is a sign of what's to come, then I can only see them getting bigger, because it is actually pretty good. Straight away from the off, you hear sort of in the first track, the title track, Terrorist Synthesizer, you hear a lot of the sounds that a lot of modern sort of punk and rock bands are sort of trying out. The intro to the opening track, the opening to that song, it's got this sort of clean guitar, and then it comes in all kind of with a bit of distortion, and it sounds kind of like like it would be on the Bully album. Feels like the Bully album from last year, one of my favourite albums from last year. And it's actually a bit of a trend. I mean, Bully are American, but over in the UK there are a lot of bands like this right now. You've got kind of sort of popular mainstream bands like Slaves and Wolf Alice, who are both going down the punk road, the noise rock road, and then sort of on the also other up and coming bands like Pretty Vicious, and of course more sort of underground stuff. You've got Fat White Family. They all have the same kind of trademark sound. There's sort of the loud and quiet balancing. There's the distortion on the guitar. It's all very loud, abrasive, in your face, and it's kind of taking off as a bit of a trend at the minute. Cabbage are just the latest band sort of in this line to just kind of try and exploit that, I suppose. The opening track is a sludgy, dark, gloomy track with kind of a humorous undertone. Some of the lyrics are quite funny. I mean, the opening lyric is it's Nancy, I think. Yeah, Nancy. Nancy likes needles, but she doesn't mean any harm. I don't know if Nancy is a reference to Nancy Sinatra. Later on in the album, they cover "These Boots Are Made for Walking," which I'll talk about in a minute, or if it's just generally a name. They talk about other people. They name drop a lot of different people. I don't know whether they're people that they know, whether they're fictional. I don't know, but it makes for there's a clear narrative in the song, and it just makes it a bit more cohesive, and it's a really interesting opening track. It's got a lot of texture to it, a lot of atmosphere, and it actually opens the EP pretty well, and leads into the second track, which is the Road to Wigan Pier, and that is a bit more of a standard punk song. It's a bit faster, it's a bit snappier, and you hear the vocalist. He's called Lee Broadbent, and you hear him. He's got quite lazy vocals. You definitely hear his accent coming through, but he's got kind of a Joe Strummer kind of vibe to his voice. He definitely sounds like he could be singing a Clash song, and obviously with being punk as well, I wouldn't be surprised if they name them as one of their influences. Most people do in general in rap music, so I think now you can actually really hear it. I think these guys definitely are trying to channel that kind of classic sort of English punk music. And then the third track, These Boots Are Made for Walking, like I say, the Nancy Sinatra cover. There's been a lot of covers of this song. There's the Megadeth cover. There's several pop covers, but this I think is actually one of the best covers I've heard of the song. It starts off. You've got this strange voice in the background. I don't know what he's saying. I hear him say the name Nancy at one point, maybe the album in general is somehow based around her story. I don't know. I'll have to read into the lyrics a bit more. But you hear him sort of talking about, I don't know if he's talking about her, talking to her, I can't really make it out. And then you've got this kind of distorted, kind of sludgy, sort of opening sort of guitar work is all kind of very fuzzy and kind of it almost feels like you can touch it. It's so heavy. It's so vibrant, not in a bright and colourful way, but in a very. It just kind of seems like, I don't know. You really feel it. It's very very crushing, very crunchy, and then you get this, but then it goes into a lot more of a sort of a faster, punkier kind of track. I thought at first it was going to be sort of a dark, sort of dingy, slow burner, mid-tempo kind of thing, but no, it's actually a full-speed punk rock track. And again, Lee Broadbent, his vocals work really well on the track. The intro kind of is a bit doom metal like, a bit kind of, I can imagine Black Sabbath doing it. It maybe reminds me a little bit of Iron Man as well, obviously by Black Sabbath. But it's a good cover. It's an interesting take on the cover. I always like it when you hear these kinds of covers of these classic sort of 60s bands, like the that cover by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, the cover of Sloop John B, one of my favourite sort of Beach Boys covers, and this is a great Nancy Sinatra cover as well, and it's one of my favourite songs, the original, so it's nice to hear a good version. And it kind of is it leads us nicely into the last track as well, which is this epic kind of almost like surf rock. It's got these breezy guitars in there, but it's a very epic song. It's about 8 minutes long, I think. That's called Because You're Worth It. It's got it's almost melancholic in places, although there is a lot of aggression in there at the same time. It's a really experimental take on I suppose it's a ballad. I suppose it's a love song, and it's pretty experimental as far as that goes. And I think it's my favourite song on the album. I'm not entirely sure because they're all kind of at a similar level, but I think it's a great closer. It would have been a great opener in fairness, but I just love the kind of the seaside sort of feel to it, and the guitar work as a whole on the EP is pretty cool. There's some really cool dynamics to it, but this song especially, it just gives off a really nice kind of feeling, although it's got that kind of sinister undertone, so you know that not all is well. If I had to compare the band, if you've not heard them, then they definitely have a lot of Nirvana tones to them, like I say, vocally, The Clash, a lot of Nirvana feel to it, definitely. And just generally, kind of general noise rock that you're hearing a lot, especially in the UK music scene at the minute. Overall, I think I would probably give this EP an 8 out of 10, because it's really, I mean, there's only 4 songs, but they're all very consistent, they're very solid, there's a lot of energy, a lot of aggression, and it's just a general fun, punky release. And I have tickets, I've seen them twice, supporting both times. Blossoms with the poster, as you see there, in December, in a couple of weeks, and I'll do a live review of that, and then I will do another one in May when I see the Cortinas, and they're one of the support bands for that as well. So I look forward to doing that. I hope you enjoy that. In the meantime, you should definitely check the album out because I would recommend it. And that's it really. It's only 4 songs, there's not a lot to say, but it's a promising start to the career, and I think this could be the start of a really interesting and explosive band that they're either going to make it really big or they're just going to disappear, but either way I think they're going to make some fantastic music, I like they already have been doing, but continuing that. Cabbage, Terrorist, Synthesizer.